Hey guys, I never know when to start talking. Hi my loves. So welcome to another super secret patron Q&A. By the way, if you're new, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us in this very casual and relaxed video. So I always mention this at the beginning of all the patron Q&A videos, but this is going to be like a visual podcast. So if you wanna like clean your room or draw or just like walk your dog while I am talking to your ear, that's totally fine because I am not going to insert or show any images. I have been trying to do this. I haven't tried, but I've been thinking about doing this Patreon Q&A as a podcast. But the problem, guys, is that I have no idea how to feature, how to put the images, how am I even saying? I don't know how to list the questions as a menu in a podcast format. So if you know how to do that, that will be wonderful. But until then, this is going to be a visual podcast. So you don't have to watch me. You can put me in the background. That's totally okay. And two, if you're not interested in watching this entire video because it's going to be really long, I'm going to list all the questions down below in the description box of you have to go to the YouTube page. And you can see all the questions. So if you don't want to watch a half an hour of me talking, that's totally okay. You just like click on the minute mark and you're going to be directed to the question itself. So let's start. Amy Clee says, "Yay! Hi, Fran. I am a new supporter." By the way, I'm reading the questions. That's why I'm looking at this direction. I am a new supporter, so I don't know if you answered this question before already, but I really wanted to know all about how you're able to work in the UK. Do you need some special visas? Does the UK support freelancers businesses? Do you have a time limit there, etc.? Thank you. Yes, Amy, I read your private message and I'm going to get back to you, by the way. But yeah, so this is the thing. I am half Italian and that's why I have an Italian passport with me, and that allows me to work and live wherever in in all Europe if I want to. Since Ed and I arrived in the UK before Brexit, I have been able to work and live here. But now with this whole Brexit thing, probably all people that have an EU passport are not going to be able to live here anymore. So Ed and I were very lucky because he applied to the residence card before this whole Brexit thing happened. So right now we're in this like weird state in which we have to wait 3 more years to get the nationality, like the British nationality, but until then there's no problem whatsoever with us living here. Even though Ed is Chilean and I'm also Chilean, but I am half Italian, but we're legally married. He has the right to live with me wherever I go, so that allows us both to work and live here in the UK or in Berlin, for example, when we were living in Berlin. But that's the case. And does the UK support freelancer businesses? I have no idea because I have never applied for any source of help. I know that there's help, for example, for maternity leave when you're a freelance mom, and I think there's unemployed insurance in case you are unemployed, but I haven't ever applied to those kind of like government help or like funds, because since I am not British, I have no idea if I do apply to those help, like to those like funds for freelance people. So I have never applied, so I can't answer that question because I have no idea. And do you have a time limit there? No, because I am European, so, and since the Brexit whole thing happened, I am quote unquote safe here. But thank you so much for your question, Amy, because I know a lot of people wonder why Ed and I can live here. Josephine Onteniente asks, "Hello, Fran. First of all, how are you? I mean, for real. I am not in my best shape today." Josephine, I miss Ed like crazy, and Serial is not feeling very well. So this past weekend, my friend Marian came to visit me. and we had the most amazing time. I finally took some time off and I'm very rested, but the problem is that Serial has been vomiting. I know this is like a sensitive subject for a lot of you guys, so I'm not going to go in any detail, but Serial is being very sick and I am really alone. Like I feel pretty lonely. Thank God Jazz is here with me today, but I feel alone in the sense that now that Serial is sick, I have to take care of her and I have to go to the vet tomorrow. And for a minute yesterday, I thought I was going to have to take her to the emergency room, to the emergency vet. But the problem is that going to the emergency vet is like super expensive. And I finally asked for an appointment for tomorrow. The good thing is that she's feeling way better today, and that's why I have been way calmer. Yesterday I was crying desperately because there's no many people that I can count on here in Hastings that I can ask them to go to the vet for me. And that's why I have to go alone tomorrow, and that makes me very sad because I'm not stressed because I am really good under the planner deadline. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm planning a planner. I'm illustrating a planner for next year, and my deadline is finishing everything by the end of this month. And so far I'm doing amazing, but I need to keep working and going to the vet, and wasting an entire day going to the vet and all of that is something that I don't have the luxury to do right now. So I feel I miss Ed because I would love to have his help right now. You were asking also, and when does Ed come back? I think he comes back, he hasn't got back to me yet, but I think he comes back the 2nd or the 3rd of August, so it will be next week, thank God. But yeah, guys, you have no idea how much I miss him because you asked me that, did you enjoy this long time being alone, or would you rather burn all your pencils than being alone so much time again? Oh my God, Jasmine, you know exactly how I feel. Because, so I was telling this to a couple of friends, but in the beginning, like I remember the first time that Ed had to travel, it was in January, like I think January or February this year. And in the beginning, I remember the first time he had to go away, I'm like, no, this is totally okay, like I miss you, but I'm using my time in so many cool and productive ways that I can totally overcome this missing part, like this nostalgic feeling, so it's totally fine. But now I was doing the math the other day, and I realized that Ed and I have been more apart than together this year. And that's kind of insane because he's been traveling so much, and his band, guys, which is the reason why he's away right now. He's the lead singer of a band in Chile, and they're like huge. And I get why so many people is insanely fan of Ed and the rest of the band because they're amazing. So I know he has a super good reason to leave. I just wish he didn't have to travel so much. So hopefully this is something that only happens this year, and next year we can be more together, like a normal marriage. But I know that a lot of marriages have to go through this insane situation. For example, my good friend and cousin Fernanda, she's an archaeologist, and she has to travel a lot because her work entails traveling and going to excavations. What is the word when you go and see like dinosaurs and bones? Well, she has to go a lot and travel a lot, so I know that a lot of people have to deal with this, but I'm not used to this insanity. Did you adopt your cats when you were still in Chile, or did you adopt them in Europe? So I adopted both of my cats when I was in Chile. And if you adopted them in Chile, how much did it cost you to bring them in Europe? So the cost of taking Cereal and Hamburguesa from Chile was more the paperwork that entailed taking them here. It's not that I had to pay a fee for going in. It's just like for example, the vaccinations and the documentation that I needed, their passports. Most of the money came with vet bills, and that was it. But it wasn't, oh, and the flight tickets, because they need like special flight ticket. I know it sounds very silly, but they needed special flight tickets, and that it was the thing that cost the most, I think. But as a country, you don't need to pay a fee for taking or like bringing pets in. At least it didn't happen in Germany and in the UK. So I have no idea if that applies to other countries. Because I really, so Josephine says that because I really want to travel with my cat, and I know it depends in the country, but I just want to know about you. Yeah, well, that's what my case. When I see your videos, your perfect organization, etc., I was wondering if you were lazy sometimes. Josephine, you have no idea, because I'm really lazy, and it's really hard for me to find motivation even if I love drawing. But I'm still a student. I keep saying to myself that when I have a real deadline, I will really work, but it scares me so much. Thank you so much for everything. Love, Josephine. Oh, thank you so much, Josephine. Yes, I'm really lazy. I am lazy. I mean, in the beginning, I remember when I started being a freelance, I was a really slacker. And when that started to hurt me or hurt the people I was working with, I started to work my ass off, because I realized I wasn't taking myself seriously as a freelancer and as a boss. And when you don't take yourself seriously, Josephine, it's very hard to make people take you seriously. And with that, I'm talking about like friends and family, even clients. I remember I was complaining a lot that why my friends didn't believe me when I told them that I was actually working, because I was staying at home. And most of my friends kept, in a very nice way actually, kept visiting me to my flat, and they wanted to just spend time with me. And I remember complaining like, why can't they see that I'm actually working and I'm freelance and I'm professional? And it's because I wasn't I wasn't drawing a line, or I wasn't taking myself seriously, and that's why they thought, or I was making them believe that I could be interrupted. So in some way, Josephine, I know exactly how you feel, because I was super lazy and I procrastinated a lot, especially when you're at home. There's so many things that you can do but working, like doing laundry and cleaning and going outside and go outside to grocery shopping, or playing with your cats, or like watching your favorite TV show. But with time, believe me and trust me, with time you're going to get used to your own schedule and finding a way to be productive. For example, a lot of freelancers that they like, and they would rather work at night during nighttime instead of during the morning, but I am much more a morning person. So with time, you're going to find a way of keeping you, what is the word you guys use a lot in English? Keeping you accountable for the work that you're doing. And believe me that it's going to change, but you just have to take yourself seriously, I think. That sounded horrible, but there's no other way that I can describe what I felt and what I'm feeling right now. But don't worry if you feel lazy right now. It's just that once the time comes, you have to work really hard, but that day will come. So be worried, but not be worried so much. Did that make sense? I hope it did. Sonia asked, hi friend, my question this month is about your handwriting, which is awesome. Thank you, baby. Has it evolved over time? Do you make a conscious effort to improve it or style it on your Instagram stories when you include your handwriting on your photos or videos? Do you use your finger or a stylus? I wish I had a pen, a magical pen, but no, it's just my finger. And no, I did not make a conscious effort to involve, I think, my handwriting style. I just feel it happened, and I think it happened. I mean, I've been writing this way for such a long time. I'll say like 6 years, 5 years, but I think it evolved in such a natural way because I write so much with my hands. That sounded very weird, but even though I write a lot of emails with my keyboard and I write a lot of stuff with my keyboard, most of the times when I write stuff, I write with my hands. I am still very old-fashioned in that sense that I keep writing like, I don't know if love letters, but like letters to my friends. And for example, when I ask Jazz to do things, I like use cute post-its and I'm like, Jazz, today you have to do this and this and this. And I use my handwriting because like my hand, because I feel it's much more personal. And I know a lot of the things, a lot of the communication you do as an illustrator is also done by hand, like with your handwriting. So I know it's a very conscious decision. It was a very conscious decision that I needed to have my own handwriting, because I know a lot of the things that I do as an illustrator, it comes because of my handwriting. So if you're an illustrator, if you're watching this, and you're an illustrator or some kind of artist, I'll highly suggest that you develop your own handwriting, because it's like the second leg, like the second half. I mean, I don't know if it's the second half, but it's a very important half of your work as an artist and as a communicator. But I know a lot of people is not writing with their hands anymore. So I think it's a tricky question, but I really appreciate it, Sonia. So thank you. Thank you so much. I love your questions, by the way. Sonia asks, hello, I have some practical question. How do you produce your signs, your scenes? I always say signs, guys. I'm sorry, scenes. Also, how do you find printers for your stickers? Google, word of mouth, etc. Sony, I produce my scenes in Awesome Merch because so far it's been the best place to print my scenes, and it's very cheap and I can print them full color, which is something that I really appreciate. And I feel like the quality is good. You can choose, for example, this sounds like an ad for Awesome Merch, but it's not an ad, guys. You can choose the paper and the glossy effect on the cover. Like you can choose practically all the finishing touches, like the finishing paper, all the things you want on Awesome Merch. And so far it's the best place for printing that I have found so far. And what is the way, how do you find printers for your stickers? So I remember that project was, I did it last year and it was very exhausting, guys, because it was a lot of Googling, and what I wanted for my stickers was very specific. This is like the time where you have to see what I'm doing on camera. But if you have no idea, these are like the stickers that I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see, but there's lots of cute and tiny stickers in one sheet. I'll say it's like 40 stickers per sheet. And I wanted something very specific because I haven't seen anyone actually in Europe or in Chile actually printing stickers this way, like a sticker sheet. And that was a long process to Google, but when I finally found a place that they were doing something sort of what I wanted, which by the way is StickerApp. I'm going to leave all of this information down below in case you want to do your own stickers. I asked them if they could do something like this and they said yes. And when I found them, I was like all over the moon, because by the way, guys, these stickers are transparent. And that was something that I really wanted, and lots of people were like, no, this is impossible to do, you're never getting this done. And I didn't want to print them in China or in Asia in general, because I know the work ethics there, even though the products are amazing, they're not the best in the work ethic. And if I can promote and give job and money to some like independent company here in the UK or in Europe, I would rather pay that company. So even though it's more expensive than to print in China, but anyway, I decided to print with them. But it was a lot of Google doing instead of like word of mouth. But thank you for your question, Sony. Evangeline, I miss you, Evangeline. Hey, friend, I'm gonna ask a bunch of serious, funny questions. What is one strongly held belief that you have recently changed? Wow, I have really changed. Is that what you're asking me? Like, what does it make me feel that I have changed? Like something that what is the question? Anyway, I'm going to take this question like, how do you know you have changed, recently changed? I feel I have changed in the sense that, man, I don't care about what other people say that much, and that is something that I really enjoy. Something about getting older, it's that you stop caring about unnecessary stuff and you start caring about the things that really matter. And that is amazing, guys. I used to care so much about so many silly things, and now I don't care about that stuff at all. But that is something great, and I feel older in the sense of like wiser in many ways. The other day, I don't know if I told you this or if I mentioned this to you, but the other day, yes, I mentioned on my last newsletter, but I went back and watched my old videos on YouTube, and my God, I look so like young in the sense of not naive, but really scared. And yeah, it was very cute to see me like that, because I feel like I've changed so much in the past 4 years. And it's been really shocking to see. If you're stuck on a desert island and you can bring only just 2 things, what would it be? I mean, I would love to like bring a knife with me and like matches or something that I could actually use to survive. Or like one of those like walkie-talkie to ask for help. But if that is out of the list, no joke, I will take a huge and chunky sketchbook and 1 pen that I can use. That will be great. One of those like pens that never run out of ink. That will be amazing. Is that cheating? No. Anyway, that will be my 2 things. Jennifer asks, Fran, you're hands down my favorite YouTuber, and I'm also so glad to be here on Patreon supporting you, my kid. Thank you, Jennifer. Your videos make my day. Oh my God, thank you, baby. Thank you. All of these comments make me so emotional. Look, I am a fellow watercolor artist, and I'm considering starting my own YouTube channel as well. I don't know much about filming, and I was curious to know, how do you decide what lens to use on your camera and how you decide what to film for your channel? Any help will be appreciated. Sending you love from Seattle, Washington. Thank you, baby. So Jennifer, I'm not a camera expert. I know someone asked that down below, but right now I'm using the Canon EOS M with a 22mm lens, because it's the lens that came with the camera, and I like it a lot. This is what Ed picked when we were looking for a camera to start my YouTube channel, and this was like many years ago, like 4 years ago or something like that. And so far it's been an amazing camera, and I love that you can exchange lenses, so that's great. But usually this is the lens that I use the most, and I had no idea how to edit videos before I started with my YouTube channel. This was something that I learned with time. But don't worry if you don't know how to edit, because no one does at the beginning. I think that is the beauty of YouTube, or like YouTube, like video editing, is that no one knows how to do it in the beginning. And you also asked me about how do you know to know how you decide what lens to use in the camera. How do you decide what to film for your channel? I feel like most of my ideas, I get them from you guys actually, and reading the comments on YouTube, and like sometimes there's people asking me questions regarding, for example, freelance life or illustration, questions about how much to charge, or how do I do something in particular. Sorry guys. Or sometimes there are things that I want to try, new art supplies that I want to try. Thanks to you guys and the money you give me every month, I get the chance to try new art supplies and buy them, which is something that I'm really grateful for, so thank you. And also, sometimes I want to challenge myself. So all the challenge that you see on my channel, for example, the Let's Draw Outside challenge, in which I go to museums or botanical gardens, because I tend to spend a lot of time with myself in my office. So I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and go outside and face my fears. And also the Let's Draw Something challenge, which is practicing with my watercolor skills or new art supplies And that's basically it. It's just like keep your eyes open and have a pen and like a notepad with you at all times, because most of the times when I need to do some brainstorming sessions when I'm alone at a cafe, I get the best ideas from like sitting alone and okay, what I want to do with my channel this month, and I write all the ideas, and that's the best. I hope I answer your question, Jennifer. By the way, I edit everything in Adobe Premiere, because that was the software that Ed uses when he edits his videos, and he taught me how to use Adobe Premiere. But I know Adobe Premiere tends to be a complicated software, so if you need to use another one, that's totally okay. Chloe asks, hi Chloe! Yay, Q&A time! Fran, I have been trying to draw more during my travels and using your advice, but I'm still having time balancing whipping my sketchbook out every minute and actually enjoying my travels without thinking I need to draw this every minute. Can you tell us your process for creating a travel journal, i.e. how you decide what goes into it, photos and stories, and when you bring your sketchbook out with you? And for a non-running related question, what's the most romantic thing you have ever done? Okay, so the travel journal question is very good. So Chloe, what I usually do for my travel journals is that I draw everything either during the moment or when I go back home after an entire day of doing stuff. Now, I have found that process and that method of drawing a travel journal is insane. It's insanity, it's insane, because I don't get the chance to enjoy my traveling, and I feel like the small space I have for resting, I am practically every minute of it drawing and like looking through the stuff that I did during that day, or like flipping through my images and taking notes. So for this upcoming trip to Japan, which I am going in October and I can't wait, I decided to approach my travel in a different way. So this time, instead of like going on for example, going out during the day and then going back home and drawing all the experience that I just like saw and experienced, I decided that I'm going to not draw during the trip. I mean, I'm going to draw for you guys and for Instagram, and of course, if I need to take notes as a drawing, in a drawing situation, I will, but most of the time I'm going to only take notes and pictures and film, because I want to see what is the best way of capturing a trip, like capturing an experience on a traveling situation. I have no idea, guys, if this is the best way of doing things, but I've realized that after walking an entire day non-stop and just like being overwhelmed by a lot of visual things, I think that this time, or like the past few times, it's not being the best idea to go back home and draw, because I really wanna die when I go back home. I mean, I'm being overreacting, but really, when you walk all day and you go back home at 10:30 at the night, yeah, like you're not in a drawing mood at all. So I just want to see if I can do this way this time, or like taking notes and taking pictures and filming instead of like drawing, because also I have the huge pressure of making sure everything is tidy and beautiful and beautifully designed and composed, and I can't have that pressure during such an important trip. So that's why I'm taking that pressure off, and I'm not going to draw exactly the travel journal as it's going to look like in the end, like the final version. This is going to be rough sketches, lots of note taking, and that's it. This is like as honest as I can be, Chloe. I wish this is not like, oh my god, I'm so disappointed. I'm just trying new methods of doing this, but I'll let you know how that goes. And when you bring your sketchbook out with you, yeah, I'm going to bring like a normal regular sketchbook. I'm not even taking, I think I'll take markers with me, but like no watercolors, no like fancy art supplies. And for a non-drawing related, what is the most romantic thing you and Ed have ever done? Oh my god, I mean, Ed and I are not like super romantic people. I mean, of course we had super romantic dinners and getaways. I remember that day in which Ed and I went and we were on a boat railing. Do you rail at a boat? We were at a boat. We were on a boat, a small boat in the Tiergarten Park in Berlin, and that was really, really, really romantic because we had like a spring date. And there's actually a video on my YouTube channel about that day, and that was amazing. And one day I felt our letterbox full with Valentine's Day goodies. So I remember for Valentine's Day in Berlin, I bought like chocolates, I bought a disposable camera, I wrote him a letter, and I put like some other date goodies inside the letterbox. And when he opened it, like everything exploded in a cute way, obviously. Oh, and I also put some photo automat, one of those like picture strings, like picture slips. What is the name of that? When you take 4 pictures in a row. I took one of those, like saying Happy Valentine's Day, and it was very, very cute. But what other like romantic stuff? I don't know, I can't remember right now, but if I do remember one, I will let you know. But yeah, most of our romantic stuff are always planned because Ed is not very spontaneous about stuff, or maybe he has been and I don't remember right now, but this is my most honest answer, Chloe. Sorry. So Steph says, yay, question time! Thank you so much for this feature, it's my favorite. I have 2 questions. 1, do you have any opinions or advice about how many items to list in an Etsy shop when you get started? Opinions or advice? I don't know, Steph, because when I started I had something like 3 products on my Etsy shop, and I feel like you should go with the products. This is like this will work exactly like as with a portfolio. Just put the stuff that makes you incredibly proud, and that because in the beginning you have no idea what items are going to be sold very like well. So in order to get to know your customers and what they like and what they enjoy and what they're willing to buy, because it's very different that they like something or they're willing to buy something. Just like start with few items and then see what people are enjoying in the beginning, and then you can start adding up. But I'll say in the beginning 5 products or less than that is totally perfect. So please don't feel ever the pressure to have lots of items. I would rather go to an Etsy shop that have few items but they're insane, that I have to scroll down it like in eternity just to find what I like. And also try to organize your items by categories, because this helps a lot. I hope that answered your question, Steph. 2, pricing freelance work is so hard. How do you figure out if you're too cheap or too expensive? I have seen calculators that say you should calculate how much time something takes you and how much you need to make to pay the bills and go from there. But I'm always worried that I am way slower at making things that others are. Do you have any advice? So, oh God, I feel, Steph, that with pricing is so difficult to say how much to charge. In the beginning, I started charging £30 per illustration, because when I started working, I remember my first commissions, I got them because I was doing my internship at a newspaper. So these guys they paid per illustration something like £30. And so I'm like, okay, this is a very like a super serious business, and I can trust they're interested in what the rates are. So I'm going to start charging from £30 upwards. And with time, I have realized, and I have been asking a lot of my friends and co-workers or like fellow illustrators how much they're charging. I think that this is a video that I need to make really soon, because I found that there's no many people saying this, like how much they're charging openly, and it's something that I feel you need to say this vocally open, because I'm not making sense. You need to say this openly, because I feel like when you realize how much other people are charging, you can adjust your rates. By the way, I'm going to put all of this information down below, but the Association of Illustrators, they are very open about how much you should charge, and you can actually call them and ask them how much to charge. I know the I know that, for example, calculate per hour is not the best. I mean, it's not the most useful way, because it depends on how long it's taking you to do something, especially if you're slow or if your technique takes longer than usual. I feel like it's a good way of, in a rough way, knowing how much to charge. But I'll say, Steph, like, please ask other illustrators how much they're charging. I mean, in this sense, I feel like I have no much more to say, because I haven't done a commission in so freaking long, Steph, that I have no idea how much people are charging right now. But I will highly suggest you talk with the people of the Association of Illustrators and ask them how much to charge. Also, something that you need to take into consideration is how long have you been doing this? How many clients do you have? How is the reputation of the clients you have been working with? Yeah, usually that, like, how long have you been doing this? And also, what was the other thing? Oh, how big is the commission that they're going to ask you? For example, if this is something that is going to be 5 centimeters per 5 centimeters, it's not the same like if someone asks you an A4 illustration. Also, how many of the illustrations are going to be, and how big is the company you're working with. So if you're working with a private client, if this is a private commission for someone like you and me, it's totally different price. For example, if you're working for, I don't know, McDonald's. So you have to take that into consideration. And most of the times people have a budget ready for you. So if you're working with an agency or a company, they usually have already made up an amount of money for this commission. So if you're like, I have no idea how much to charge, you can ask them to give you a budget, and just like see if you feel comfortable charging that. And there's something about the gut that is really useful. So if you feel you're charging too low, you will realize immediately, Steph. So don't worry if you feel like uncomfortable. Feel like charge what you feel is the best and what it feels right. I never know if I'm answering your questions correctly, guys, so I'm so sorry. I'm trying to be as honest as I can with the little information I know about this stuff. Samantha Leo asks, hi Fran, I'm new here. Yeah, welcome Sam. I'm going to call you Sam because why not? But I absolutely adore your videos. They are so real and so you. Thank you, baby. My question will be, what makes you decide to become an illustrator, quitting your full-time job? So I've always wanted to be an illustrator, but I didn't believe I could actually be one full-time. Because I remember a few times, even when I decided to be an illustrator, and when I was doing illustration full time, I decided to go back to, for example, being a art director or a graphic designer, because I was really scared to making this a living. And I don't know, like the idea of being an illustrator full-time in some way made me really scared, because it meant that illustration could fail as a dream and as a plan. And I'm like, if I can be a graphic designer, that means that I can never make illustration fail as a plan, as a job. So I never wanted to have, I mean, that was very strange, because I wanted to be a full-time illustrator, but I didn't want to give it a go, give it a chance, because I didn't want illustration to fail. And at some point I got really tired of being scared and not giving this a go. And when I saved a little bit of money, I decided to go all the way with illustration. But that was a really scary moment, guys, because when I took this final decision of like, I'm tired of this shit, I really want to be an illustrator. I was living in London and Ed and I were paying an insane amount of money every month for rent. And that was so suicidal of me to just like take the jump, take the lead and do it. But in some way, I feel like when you have no other plan, you have no plan B, and this needs to succeed, this needs to be a successful move, it's like you're fired up by motivation and just like determination. And I'm so grateful about that. Like, I made it work in some way, but it was a very scary feeling. That's what that was my main core, my main motivation, I think. Did I answer your question, Sam? I hope I did. I never know with these things. Victoria asks, hi Fran, I really love your videos and your work. As Samantha said, it is so you, so true. Oh, thank you, baby. How do you make it so true? You're an illustrator. Illustrating is you in a way. How do you stay true all the time in all your videos? With videos and illustration, I feel like I have to constantly ask myself if this is me in some way. If what I'm portraying, if what I'm showing is myself, or if I am pretending to be someone else. Am I doing this? Am I saying this because someone else say it, or because I really mean what I'm saying? With illustration and videos, they're very, even though they're very similar in terms of like technique, they're very similar in the sense that they portray a version of me, and what you see is me all the time. But it's very hard to expose yourself at that level because it's easier to get hurt. When people are saying hurtful things about my work and about my videos, they're saying it about me. And that's why I get why so many YouTubers and so many artists, they have sort of like a layer in between them and their work, or them and their videos. And that's why they have a persona, or like a personality, or like a character. Or they are some weird version of themselves. And that's why so many YouTubers and also artists, they are themselves and their creations, but they're like bubblier or more happy or more like, I don't know, they are themselves but in a different way. And I feel like that's why what I'm doing is so risky, because I'm trying to be me as much as I can in all my work, and that is very risky, guys, because you're I hate saying this word because I never know how to say it right, but it's vulnerable. It's like exposing yourself at the most and like be yourself, and that is amazing because people can see how much of you truly are. But at the same time, it's easier to get hurt because you're there. There's no layers, there's no walls in between, there's no armor between you and the audience. And that is some hardcore shit, guys. But yeah, it's the exercise of every time asking yourself, is this true? Is this genuinely what you feel? And that's why I think I journal so much, because I write my feelings all the time, so I can... It's like digging deep every time digging deep, more, taking layers out. This is like an onion situation, like taking the layers. Is this how you truly feel? Is this what you truly want to talk about? Is this how you truly portray yourself? And that is a hardcore exercise, and that's why I try to do it as much as I can, like journaling. Yeah. I hope I answered your question, Victoria. And where did you learn to be so awesome at video editing? Lots of time, baby. I remember I used to be really bad at editing, and Ed helped me a lot in that department. I mean, he never edited my videos, but he helped me cutting some stuff So I did the first layer of editing, and then he was like, oh, you need to adjust this to the tempo of the song, or you need to do this and this is totally unnecessary. So with time I had to sharpen my eye in terms of editing. And also I really enjoy documentaries, guys. So when I'm editing, I always have the documentary style in my mind, and that's why most of my videos don't have songs, because I feel like sounds are the best music for videos, like background noises. But it's just like time, it's just like a lot of time. Like if you go back on my YouTube channel, that was another thing, that was another channel. But I feel like I'm trying to be as raw and honest as I can, even in my video editing. And having inspiration from documentaries, that's like my video style editing right there. And don't worry about the questions, because you said sorry for all the questions at once, Victoria. Don't worry, that's totally okay. I'm glad that I can help in some way. Lisa asked, hi Fran, I'm also a big fan of you and what you do, and the authenticity with which you share. Thank you so much. My questions feel a bit selfish, and this might be not be all of them yet, hahaha. But I am gonna ask you anyway, because I feel you're the one to ask. I am getting closer and closer to taking the step to becoming a creator on Patreon. I have been working on my first post and trying to figure out how to set up the tiers and awards. Will you please share any tips, guidance, or a manual for success? Hahaha, just kidding at the last one. I want to offer myself, my work, my process, but also something unique that the patrons can benefit from. Thank you, Fran. So Lisa, don't worry, I can totally answer this question. I remember when I started on Patreon, I took all of the tiers and awards from other creators as well. I got inspired by them, and also what I was already producing on my social media content. So for example, I stopped doing Q&As on YouTube because I wanted to save the Q&A videos for you guys, because I thought that this was something that I could share with you. And so this is like a reward I give only to you guys, and it's something that I don't want to share with everybody. So you need to ask yourself, what is something that I'm really comfortable only sharing with my patrons? Because I feel you guys are like close friends to me. So it's like what I will share with a close friend. So my process, is it a video, is it a podcast? And also try to have in mind something that, even though can take you time to produce, like sitting down and answering questions, it's not something that will take you all your time. I remember talking with this thing with people from Patreon actually, and I'm like, I love Patreon. This was way before I had a Patreon account, guys. But I'm like, I'm really scared because I don't want Patreon to be a time-sucking machine. I really enjoy what I do. I don't want to disappear from social media. I don't want to stop making YouTube videos. I don't want to stop uploading things to my Instagram. And they were like, don't worry, Fran, because people who are spending the full time of their lives on Patreon, they're not using the platform as what the platform is supposed to be doing for them. So Patreon is supposed to help you with keep creating the stuff that you already love. So when you're designing the tiers or like the pledges for people, try to take that into consideration, that they're not time-sucking monsters. So for example, for me, that's why I decided to do the podcast twice a month, like every other week and not every week, for example. That's why most of my pledges, they're monthly and not weekly. And all the editing is very casual. That's why I don't insert stuff. So you need to keep that in mind. And also stuff that you feel totally comfortable doing. There's a lot of patrons that, for example, they I think Tori does postcards, and I love postcards, but I'm really bad at going to the post office because I am already having an online shop. So I know there's some things that I would love to do, but I know they will be not ideal for me right now. So you need to find a balance in which you feel comfortable doing stuff and you have the time to do, but at the same time it's not a super time sucking monster machine for you. And that's it. Also, it applies to your to the stuff that you're doing. So for example, Ed has also a Patreon, and he is not doing Patreon Q&As because he will rather spend some time doing live streams. I know that a lot of people would rather have live streams than this, because live streams you don't have to edit them. And he also does a raffle, like a, is that the word, when you do a giveaway every month? So he tailored up his content within the past of the months. Like, so he started with a very similar type of pledges that I was doing, but with time he realized he didn't need all the pledges that I was having. So don't worry if your pledges change with time, because only with time you will realize which is the best method, or like the best balance for you. So just start, go through lots of artist pledges and just like take notes of the stuff that you will love to do. So for example, you can go to Tori's Patreon account, to my Patreon account, and other people, and just like, oh, I would love to do this and this and this and this, and you can put prices, and then you can have like an open, for example, try, in which once a month, like an entire month, you can try all of the pledges, and then you can change them, and that's totally fine, baby. I hope I answered your question, Lisa. Elodie! Hi Fran, yay, it's Q&A time! There are already so much great questions from my fellow patrons. Here are mine if you still have time to answer. 1. I want to create a brand about traveling, hiking, travel videos and travel illustrations. I wonder if I should put all my videos in one YouTube channel, or if I should create three channels. One focused on hiking and traveling, one on filmmaking, one on illustrating. The same for Instagram. Is it better to have one place or to have different places with one type of content? I want to do it right from the beginning if possible. I will love to have your input in this question. Elodie, I had the same question with my channel when I started vlogging on a regular basis, because I saw most of the YouTubers had one channel for their content and other channels for blogging. And in the beginning I felt very guilty, like, oh my god, this is the worst idea to have everything in one place. And with time I realized that the best idea was having everything in one place, because you have less pressure to update your channel, because with 3 channels you have to keep them updated, or like you have to put consistent content at least once a week. And having 3 channels, Elodie, is a freaking nightmare. So I would rather go to a channel with lots of cool stuff happening at the same time, and just like watch videos that, even though they're not of my main interest, like for example hiking, I can watch them because it's something that you're very passionate about. And if you're passionate about something, I will be equally interested as well. So please have one account for everything. I would rather have be subscribed to a channel that it's updated regularly and frequently, than being subscribed to one channel that once a month or once every 2 months gets updated. That's my honest question. I don't know how everybody else feels, but that's at least how I feel. And yeah, for example, right now Ed is really into filming and photography, but he also wants to start talking about books and writing and playwriting on his channel. And a lot of people is very curious about it because he's very passionate about it. My friends Dana and Lou, they are like a vegan channel, but right now they are about to purchase a freaking van, and they are trying to travel around Europe with their van. So their channel right now is vegan and traveling, and they are trying to balance this in a most beautiful and cinematographic way. So don't worry if your channel doesn't have a cohesive language in the beginning, because at the end I'm sure you will find a balance between all of the things that you feel passionate about. So I'll say Instagram and YouTube wise, I would rather see everything in one place. And have you find a name for your planner company? I remember a live on Patreon where you were discussing discussing it, and I wonder if you have finally found the right one. Whatever the name, I wish you all the best with your new venture. Have a great day. Oh my god, yes, Elodie, I found one. And I think it's the best. It's the best one. I will share it as soon as I can, don't worry. But yes, I found one. I hope my answer was what you expected, Elodie. And I think that's, oh my god, that's the last one. Okay, so I can't believe it's been like 50, almost an hour, guys, talking with you. But I hope you enjoyed this very insanely long Q&A. I hope you enjoyed the questions and they were useful for you. I never know if they're useful to you guys, so please let me know if you need like further help with the questions you ask. Thank you so much for all the questions you guys sent me. I can't believe we had so many questions in this time. So thank you so much for your support and for allowing me to buy art supplies and pay my rent and like just having a wonderful life. I owe you all of this to you guys. You're insane. So yeah, let me know if you need further help with this. I will be more than happy to keep helping you and answering your questions. You can leave the comment below or you can send me a private message. And yeah, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for, if you made it this long, if you made it this far, congratulations. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and I wish you the best, and you're the best. And okay, bye guys. Oh my god.